In the divorce realm. I was a divorce attorney for 18 years. And as you know, do I need to say anything else? Well, after doing divorce work for 18 years, going through my own divorce, I had a lot of black and white thinking around right and wrong. And attorneys do that, right? That's what we take on. And I knew about forgiveness, but when you're so caught up in proving somebody is wrong or that you have to blame them, you lose your power, don't you? When you're a victim and you're pointing your finger somewhere else, you forget that you have the power to heal yourself. And forgiveness is one of the ways you do that. So, my premise here is, as you think, so you become. And, it really came home to roost for me. So, I needed to become powerful, and I needed to change that. So, after all the years of doing divorce and relationship coaching and regular life coaching, I realized that the cornerstone of all my work was forgiveness. And I had to learn, and this was hard, that forgiveness is not about the other person. It's not about what they did to me. It was for me. Forgiveness was 100% about healing myself. It wasn't about condoning their behavior. And that's what, when you're in that right-wrong thinking, you're really worried. You don't want to let them off the hook, right? And it is like that idea of drinking the poison and expecting the other person to die. So, that's why somebody like Eva Kor, I have this book on forgiveness that I wrote, which is really a culmination of all of my learnings about forgiveness, but it also has, 10 or 15 other stories of other people's. There are some channelings in there. And Eva Kor was one of them, and she's a Holocaust survivor. And she's a survivor of Dr. Mengele's experiments. So, this is hard stuff. And she has forgiven. And she talks about that in the book. And what I'm here to say is, if she can do this, so can you. You don't have to walk around with pain and heartache and anger and bitterness inside of you. And so, most of you are familiar, I know this group already, with the idea that if you eat acidic food, that's really bad for your body, right? If you have an acidic pH. And so, what we don't know sometimes is that our thoughts can be just as acidic to our bodies. And like Janet was talking about earlier, Dr. Emoto's work, he shows the effect of thoughts on water. So put it together then. Our bodies are 60 to 70% water. How are our thoughts, our negative self-talk, whether it's blaming someone else or blaming ourselves, guilt and shame, are killers. They're very acidic thoughts. So we really want to get a hold of that. There's a Dr. Robert Young who did a 25-year study, and he says your mental state can create more metabolic acids than the food you're eating. In fact, 2 to 3 times more than the food that you ingest. So that's really something to think about. And in my book, I have a lot of references about cancer and cancer fighting strategies. And what they say is that taking medicines or supplements for cancer while your pH is highly acidic is like washing dishes in a sink of dirty water. So if we're continuing to allow the thoughts to become poison inside of us, we know that this is affecting our cells, our blood, the water inside of us. It's our DNA, it's our heart. And there are some studies that also show that 60 to 90% of all doctor visits are stress-related. Unforgiveness, chronic unforgiveness, causes stress, and it causes chronic stress. There's a Dr. Don Colbert in his book called Deadly Emotions, Understanding the Mind-Body-Spirit Connection that can destroy or heal you. He says, when chronic anger is present, the body has a steady drip of cortisol. And anger and stress are treated the same way in our bodies. You know, it goes into fight or flight mode, the adrenaline, the cortisol, the hormones are crazy, and it just becomes such a problem. So I want you to think about this. Look at this glass of water. Now, some of you might be in that mode of, oh, it's half full, it's half empty. But what I really want you to do when you look at this water is think about something in your life that you haven't forgiven. Or think about those negative self-thoughts you might have. And you can look at it and say, okay, it's just a glass of water. But imagine if I had to hold this glass of water right here for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour. How heavy would these thoughts be in an hour? Imagine a freaking lifetime, what you are doing to your body. Can you hold this up for your lifetime? This water can be your poison. So if you have, let's say you were sexually abused as a child, or just physically abused, or neglected, or you had a bad marriage, whatever it was that you're holding on to, imagine year after year after year trying to hold this up. You're going to be affected by it. Medical intuitive Carolyn Mace says, the past, just think about this, the past cannot provide your body with life force energy. And not forgiving someone is a very powerful way not to heal. The Cancer Treatment Centers of America and Stanford both say that holding on to bitterness for years can wear out your heart and your immune system. So then we go to that question. And there's tons of research in this book. I talk about Mayo Clinic and Duke University, and everybody is on the same page with this now. You used to not be able to prove it before. Now they're proving it. So how does forgiveness help? Well, really, what it does is it kicks your immune system back into gear again. It's as simple as that. So when your immune system is shutting down, it's not working well, right? When you kick it back in, it might start working again. So how to forgive? Oh, I forgot to ask Susan to pass these out, and I'm sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Yes, if you could just, thank you. So I developed a 4-step process for forgiveness, and it's called the Living with Forgiveness process. And it's all about building your forgiveness muscle, right? The more we practice, the more it'll become part of our life. And then when the big things happen in our life, we'll know how to handle it. One of the things that I took on years ago was when somebody would cut me off in traffic. My response is, Babakasha, you're welcome. I let them through. I don't get angry anymore. I do get angry. I shouldn't say that. I don't get angry anymore at those little things, right? And when we practice with those little things, of course, when the big things really hit us, we'll know how to deal with them better. So with this 4-step process, the first step is acceptance. And this is something you can do at home, right? You can do this all the time in your life. Acceptance. And when I say acceptance, it's what is the truth of your situation? What is the reality of your situation? So I'm going to do this very briefly, of course. The second is personal responsibility. Now you might say, Lori, how am I supposed to take responsibility for being abused as a child? Hello, I didn't ask for that. Well, you know what? You are responsible for how you feel as a result of that. You're responsible for how you continue to live your life as a result of that. And if you need help dealing with that, then you need to get help dealing with that. But you don't want to live in the past. You don't want to live wishing your life was different than it is now. Step 3 is, what are the gifts or the lessons? And the truth is, there is always a gift. I have never talked to anybody about forgiveness where there wasn't a gift or a lesson in it. We can always find those gifts. And step 4 is gratitude. And it's really living a life saying, I'm grateful for what I have today. Yeah, this happened to me. So-and-so did this to me. However, today I'm okay. And thank you, God, I am okay today. Right? I'm waking up. I live in the Sedona area. It's the most beautiful place on earth, one of the most beautiful places on earth. And I'm so grateful to be here. Find that gratitude every single day. And you're not going to be in the victim blame mode. So, of course, there's not enough time to go into detail, but I wanted to share a 1-minute heart distressor meditation with you. So the purpose of this is to reduce stress and take you really from your brain down into your heart. So if you could, just close your eyes and put your hand on your heart. And if you breathe in and out in 5-second intervals. So breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'd like you to keep breathing in, count to yourself. 4, 5, and out. And keep doing that while I'm talking to you. Because basically, 6 breaths a minute put your breath in sync with the amygdala, which is the part of the brain that deals with anxiety and fear. It's in your limbic system. And what this does is it takes you out of fight or flight mode. So when you start getting anxious, you feel angry, hurt, you can literally take a 1-minute time out for yourself. Slowly breathing in and out, sending the heart the message that it does not have to be in fight or flight mode and it can relax. It is literally telling your heart to ignore the brain's panic mode and that you are not in fear. If that makes sense. And when you're done, you can slowly open your eyes. And so today I would urge you to do a little life review for yourself. On page 2 here, I gave you some questions to think about. And I would ask you to take a preventative approach to illness or disease in your life. Forgive others. Forgive yourself for everything and anything you're hanging on to. Go through your life history and let it go, because you don't want to be that person carrying around the water, carrying around the poison. And if you need any help, I would be glad to work with you on this. I do have books at the back, and I do forgiveness sessions for people, so just let me know. Thank you.
I don't know if they're going to talk because I'm so relaxed. That was wonderful. Okay, we get a break.